and it's possible that they could be not friendly, or we would worry about whether or not if you remember some of the things if they have some kind of virus with them that would contaminate the world. How would we stop that?
But all of our fears about aliens and UFOs are all based on movies we've seen. If you have no real information from the government or from researchers, or do you understand what I'm saying? Right. We're scared by them because we watch these movies.
Right. Well, and that's the whole big issue with the things is we watch the movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Trek, Star Wars. Star Wars is a good versus evil. Star Trek is not. Star Trek is they go around to find new places, to find new people. So, but here we're taught that we have to fear a thing. Fear is the biggest control that anybody has over you.
True.
If you fear the COVID and you stay in your house and you're wearing a mask and it's been a whole year now, but after a while, people start to rebel against the fear. So it's like anything at Independence Day. They came and they blew up all of this stuff, and eventually we worked together in order to overcome that. But that's the whole thing. You have to work together. You can't be one-on-one. And as time goes on, we'll see what happens with the aliens. Are they real? Are they something that a part of our collective consciousness, where a lot of times you watch a movie and you'll know what's coming up in the next scene, but you've never seen it before, because that energy is out there. Anything that's ever been written, ever will be written, ever been told is in the Akashic records.
Oh, we always say it's precognition.
Yes. And that's another thing. One of the big things with the experiencers, they had a lot of precognition, and the big thing at the meeting would say, just because you know there's something going to happen, you're not responsible for that action. It's like the 9/11 people think, or a plane crash. Some people have a premonition about getting on a plane and stuff, and then something happens, or they don't want to drive. They drive to work every day the same way, and they have a premonition that something's going to happen, so they go a different way, and they find out that there was an accident. Right. Where did that come from? What's is that part of the UFO phenomenon? Is that where it comes from? That energy is there, and someone is telling us about it, and it's like angels. The one thing that I enjoy reading about is miracles that happen. People who have someone suddenly show up and do things for them and to help them, and we don't expect those things anymore. Miracles are, that's what stories are made from. So.
Right, fairy tales.
Yes, fairy tales. And are there fairies? If you work in a garden and you work outside a lot, you'll see things out of the corner of your eye, and you'll take a plant from here and put it there. Because
we see things, usually rabbits eating, the tomatoes. And no, but I understand what you're saying. Yes, and, I do.
That's all part of the UFO and the alien and the psychic phenomenon. We are very aware, and we can teach ourselves to be more aware.
Most of us are very short-sighted.
Yes.
But we're too busy.
Yes, and too busy, and now we have the new latest craze of business is the smartphone,
right,
which is really not a phone anymore. It's a mass communication device. People can send you notifications on, if you walk in the mall, you can get an ad on your thing. You walk past a store, you get an ad on your phone because your phone is connected to the web and the internet, so they can post messages for you there. So there's a lot of things that control you, a lot of things that gives you the opportunity to become more than just the walking around person that
well, we're not so much in tune with nature anymore. We're so busy with iPhones and cell phones and iPads, and that again, we're short-sighted. We're so busy we can't look beyond the end of our noses and see what's out there.
There is a lot of people who are beyond that.
Oh, that's good to know.
But they hide.
Okay.
Because they're alien. They're strange. Well, they're strange. They're
Yes.
different. It's like people who read books. You know, there's more about Star Wars than the movies. There's what they call the canon. These are the stories and the books that are written about how Star Wars and how the Jedi and all. I mean, there's so many stories, but people read, but it's hard to find them.
Mm-hmm.
It's because everybody has a phone and
Right.
everybody's busy.
Right. Well, we kind of answered that, but I'll ask you anyway. Why does Earth interest aliens so much, and are there other planets that they're exploring?
Earth, I think, is probably unique with the diversity that it has. If you look at some of the Stargate, the other movies, they seem to have one primary theme for the whole planet. We have the people who live in Pine Bush are not the same not the same type of people who live, we'll say, in Monticello, and that's just on the other side of the ridge, or into Westchester, or over into Connecticut. And we're diverse on our thoughts. We're diverse on the type of foods that we eat. So there's a lot of things for us for them to study. If they picked your family to study, you know, they would find out that your family is different than my family.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in the same town. We have we drink the same water. We have all of these things. But there are diversities, and I think that they probably go around and are they scientists? Are they time travelers? Are they searching for spiritual things? That was the other thing. Just because a civilization is more advanced technologically, does that mean they're more advanced spiritually? There's if you look at the different types of aliens that are around, some are supposed to be very, very spiritual. They're the ones that help and do things, and those are called the service to others thing. Now, there's two types of people in the universe: service to self and service to others.
Mm-hmm.
So, the ultimate goal is everybody to be service to others, but that doesn't always happen.
True.
So,
Very true. Okay. Does SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, publicly share their information?
that's a maybe, because they've had some wow signals, they had some things, but you got to remember that SETI is using our technology to search for things.
Right.
They're looking for radio signals, and radio signals are not the fastest signals in the universe, and they are very limited in scope. And it's like, how many radio stations do we have? If you're driving through town and you're turning your radio, there's so many radio stations, but how do you know which one to look for? How do you know? If you're looking for a country western station out of 100 stations, how do you find it? You got to go through each one.
Each one. Mm-hmm.
So their technology's getting better. They have multiple bandwidths and stuff, and they're also combining their information with the radio telescopes, so that they're looking at, not only looking for things, they're looking at different areas of the sky. So they sweep the sky. They are finding signals, but it doesn't mean that it could be alien. It could be just vibration of a planet. It could be they may have some quartz there and it's vibrating and it puts out a certain frequency. So there's pulsars. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But SETI is they used to use home computers. You could tap in and they would use your computing power when you weren't using your computer in order to check things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's possible they think, but does SETI answer to the government?
Yeah, yeah. Where would be the closest group from us that would be studying the skies or looking for? I mean, I'm not talking about a voluntary group,
Right.
Some type of a very organized, funded group. Where's the closest one?
Hard to say.
Okay.
One of the things that, if anybody looks up the history of the Newburgh airport,
Okay, Stewart.
Stewart,
Mm-hmm.
it used to be a SAC base.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there used to be Nike missiles bases around all in the area to protect it. It was one of the primary targets during the Cold War from Russia, because supposedly we had all these things going on over there. Now it also has one of the largest runways.
Yeah,
That's where the space shuttle was supposed to land in case they had a problem and had to be on the East Coast to land, not California or Florida. So there might be something going on over there. They're talking about the new space agency. They may have a group that is going to be put over at Stewart. So there's a lot of stuff that could go on. There's some places in Connecticut, up on in western part of Connecticut, that are interesting energy things, and there's government stuff that goes on. We don't know what it is, but if you do some research and you go around and look at what's going on, it's a good possibility that they have a government think tank over there that they're doing.
Okay.
So local stuff could be going on, but we don't. Not that it's top secret, but one way to keep things secret is keep it in the open, and then everybody ignores it.
Right. Right.
But it's when you put the fences up and put the the guards up and stuff, then it becomes a more of a don't look at me type thing. It's like with the Wizard of Oz. Don't
behind the curtain. Yeah.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Right. Right. So, do you feel there are other races on other planets? That's part one of this question. And part two of my question is, do you think that they'll find life forms on Mars now that Perseverance is there exploring?
Ooh. I have written down that there's thought to be 36 civilizations and 82 species known. That's known to our government. That's not known to, that's not just the. So, if you look at Star Wars or any of those, you'll see a lot of different characterizations of different groups.
Oh
different
yes,
species.
quite interesting mix.
Yeah. And some of them are. It's like we have dolphins. Dolphins are supposed to be very, very smart. Now, are dolphins an alien species? If you remember in Star Trek, they had a connection with the whales. In one of the Star Trek movies, the whales were a very sentient species, and sentient means self-awareness. I did a research paper on horses, and some horses are fully aware of who they are and what they're doing. Other horses are dumb as sticks.
Mm-hmm.
They really, they're for some reason they're not developed as much, I guess psychically or whatever, in order to think. So there's a big difference in all of that, and I think that there are conspiracy theories about Mars, about how we already have bases on Mars, and that we travel back and forth. They have means of regressing. They have what they call med beds. They put you in this bed. It can make you smarter. But it also can make you younger looking. But it can also wipe out your memories so that you don't have memories of the time before. So anybody who works at that base, if they do come back and after their whatever amount of time in the military, they would come back. They would, kind of not be aware of where they were, or what they did, and there'd be no thing. So yes, I believe though, and when they talk about life, they're not talking about sentient beings. They're talking about any kind of bacteria and
right,
stuff.
any kind of life form.
Right. And all of it's like on the space station,
Mm-hmm.
they did find mold and stuff growing on the windows on the outside.
On the outside.
Yes.
Oh.
So where did that come from? Did that come from a comet coming through or something? Or is that something we had on there when we went up and it lives in space? So there's a lot of things that we have to worry about contaminating another planet. Contaminating Mars.
Right. What we worry about if another species would come here,
Right.
they have to worry about us doing that to them.
Right. And do the Chinese who are going to have a lander, do the United Arab Emirates, those other group, do they have the same protocols that we have on how to disinfect everything that we do. You know, so yeah, we may send up we may go up and find there's something on there, but remember the Viking was on the Mars a long time ago, and what happened is somebody supposedly programmed over how to adjust the because it had small memory, so they were updating a program, and the thing that turned the antenna towards the Earth so that we could talk to it, it was misplaced. So that would be another conspiracy theory on things. So it's there's a lot of things out there that there's conspiracy theories for everything, and how much is it true, or where do people get the information from? You know, that's the other thing. And should you fear it? No, because fear makes you not look at things.
Well, that's what we said before.
Yeah.
You know, fear controls us.
Yeah. So, and like I say, if the aliens landed here during the UFO festival this year, are you gonna, is everybody gonna run away? And if you saw people, you can't trust anything you see.
True. Very true.
It's like back in the early days of the abductions and stuff, and people had pictures, and Photoshop was just it just came out, so you couldn't always tell. And if you look at some of these movies, how can you tell if they're real or not? And the computer animation is so fantastic. It really is. So in your mind, you say, it's only a story, but
where's the idea coming from?
Right, and what's the other part of your mind saying? Would that be nice to have? Would it be nice to have a car that you could get into and go to Florida, and then, within an instant, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to be thought about with all of the stuff that goes on. And if you have time, you can think about it and, maybe make your own spaceship.
Yeah.
A Merkaba, there's something called a Merkaba where you generate the energy to go other places. So
I'm going to work on that.
Yeah.
There's a few places I'd like to visit.
yeah, well, and the thing is, when you visit, you bring back that memory, and you can make a movie in the whole thing, because it's a nice place to visit.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing is pick up a book, look at the pictures, and imagine.
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
It is. So, you spheres, triangles, cylinders, and saucers.
Yeah, those are all the shapes that we've seen in the area. I myself have seen a very large ball-shaped UFO. I mean, tremendous, huge, down on 52 by the bowling alley, just where the McMansions are.
Mm-hmm.
Before that hill was fixed, it sat down in the back, and it was a huge reddish color, an off red, almost like a rust color. I did see another one of those when I was driving up the thruway. It was above Kingston. I was going someplace north, and I saw it out over the river.
But if you saw it, other people must have seen it.
Not everybody sees the same thing.
But 1,000 people are standing around on the riverbanks. You saw it. Wouldn't there be one other person at least who saw it and would report it or would tell someone else, and all of a sudden now people are talking about it?
But if you saw it and you didn't believe it, and you didn't want to be ridiculed for seeing it, it's like the big UFO flap in the Hudson Valley. Now, one of the big issues was people stopped on 84 at a rest area. I think there was like 50 or 60 people there. They were later on they were interviewed. They all saw the same thing at the same time. Some people saw just lights. Some people saw craft. Some people saw nothing. All looking at the same thing.
Okay.
So it depends on what you're willing to see. It's like when Columbus came to the Americas, they saw the ship coming in. Nobody knew what it was because they've never seen it.
Right.
When they saw the conquistadors on horseback, they didn't know what it was. They thought it was one animal, because it was not part of their cultures, not part of the things. So not everybody sees the same thing. It's like, this is blue, black, whatever. Suppose I tell you it's yellow.
Well, to you it might be. My
Yes.
perspective would be different.
Right. Well, and what you call things. It's like there are certain words that mean certain things in certain cultures. Coffee, Java, Joe, all of these things. So colors, I don't know what you see in colors. See, but you were taught green. My youngest brother, as we were growing up, he used to see blue people. Now,
And it wasn't the Blue Man Group.
no, but he called them blue people. So, what is that?
Yeah, what was he seeing?
What was he seeing? And he used to see things around, and I can still picture him doing this when he was, I mean, we're talking baby type thing, less than one, doing this at things in the air. So, but you don't know what another person sees, and what's that? You walk a mile in my shoes, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's just, we assume that everybody sees the same, and we assume and we want everybody to see the same, to be the same, to do all the. We're not looking at things that to be different from us.
Right. Well, because we accept normalcy as being the same.
Right. But whose same are we looking
Right,
at? It's
right.
like UFOs. Oh yeah, it's normal to see UFOs, but that's only for the people who see it. And then you ask why me, and then they're talking about missing time. That was one of the big questions. If you had taken missing time, where does the time go? What is time? I'm retired now, so I really don't know what day of the week it is, and I have to keep a schedule because time is irrelevant now.
Yes. Yes.
You eat when you get hungry. Unless you have to take medication at a certain time. You really kind of, it bypasses all the stuff, and your sense of urgency no longer is there.
True. Because time is free now.
Yeah, time is free. It's costly because it goes by very fast.
Yes, it
and
does.
you can never get that time back. And that's the other thing. When choices come up, when I do psychic readings, I talk about choices, and that's the whole big thing with people. Your life is full of choices. Either you make them for yourselves, or someone will make it for you. And I look at time as being a big wheel, and on that wheel there's little spots where when that wheel goes around and touches the ground, that's when that choice becomes valid. If you don't make that choice then, it may not come around again for a long time, or it may never come around, depending on how big the wheel is.
Yep.
And that's with UFOs, and that's with aliens and ghosts and things. You have to make a choice. You don't have to make a stand, but you have to make a choice. I want to see. I want to believe. It's what was that in Peter Pan?
Right.
With I believe. When I was a young person, I remember that. It was just so sad that and then it got better. So
Right.
we can make things better. We can make them better.
You're right. You're right. Tell us some more. What else can you tell us?
Talking about abductions, like I said, it was two types of abductions. You're driving along in a car, and suddenly you get taken. And the other type of abduction is family lines: mother, daughter, father, son. And the worst thing that can happen to a parent who's involved in that is you can't protect your child because you can't stop them from coming in to do it. So that was the biggest concern with the family lines, that with the people who had children who were seeing things and being taken. So there's a lot of issues that will never be answered because and most of the group, the initial part of the group, which we still meet the first Wednesday of every month in the Walker Valley Schoolhouse, as the initial group has gotten older, and they've kind of went into the to the background because they didn't want to be singled out because they were afraid of again government problems. And the job that I worked in, I worked for a large corporation, and I would go to banks and to repair equipment and stuff. So, and I rarely went to the office, but I tried to keep my personal life, my UFO, my education, all of my stuff at a low key. But as time went on, oops, as time went on, I used to fix Apple computers for the company I worked for, and I would go to people's home, and when they had, I would go in and they would start talking to me, and suddenly the subject of UFOs would come up.
So they felt your UFO aura and felt it was okay to discuss
Yeah,
it.
but I have no idea why, because I never mentioned it, and especially with when the UFOs, the big flap where they saw them down in Westchester, I talked to a lot of people about they were out right underneath them and could see the bottom of the ships and stuff. So, and they didn't know who I was. I had no idea. I came to fix their computer. They didn't, and they would start talking to me and talk to just like I was their best buddy or something. And
Wow, that's
and I didn't have UFO written on my forehead,
Yeah, right.
and I never really publicly,
Well,
announced
you
it.
said that. You said you kept it a low key, your personal
Yeah.
life.
Well, but I tried to because you were made fun of if you were a UFO person.
Of course.
So, and then I worked for a large company that, I'm sure they didn't want that, because when I first worked for the company, I went to work for the company, I had no white shirts. I had all colored shirts, blue and told them you had to get white shirts. It's like, what? It's like IBM. IBM, all the people, the service people wore white shirts. So, I was different, and I didn't, you don't think of yourself being different. You assume that everybody has at least some understanding of what you do.
Individuality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was fun. I do see that there's more stuff going to be happening in Pine Bush. I see some changes coming to Pine Bush, political, economic, and other things. Where Pine Bush goes like in a wave, and that's what UFO things go in a wave. And I think either more people are going to become more aware of the energy that's around the farmlands, the things that they want to do, and they're not going to allow the big commercial stuff to go in. Montgomery has a problem now because of the all of the buildings that are going up, all of the warehouses and stuff. Yes, they're jobs, but with those jobs come problems. The school district, we have one of the largest school districts around, and it's almost too big now.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to change the whole thing? We don't know.
Right.
Because
Because there was also a big influx of people moving out of big cities and moving up here, so
Right.
the school system will expand again.
right. Well, one of the thing is people don't think of seeing UFOs in New York City, but there's a lot of reports about people in New York City because they go up on the rooftops and stuff. But there is a very famous abduction that happened in New York City. People on the ground, one of them was a representative to the UN. They saw the person getting taken out of the window and floating away into a thing.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and that's New York City. Well, I was at a convention for hypnosis because I'm a certified hypnotherapist. So, and over in by let's see, what is that? Not LaGuardia.
JFK?
No, it must have been LaGuardia. I was next to the airport, and I was in a motel, and I can remember getting taken up out of the bed and floating like this. And the only thing I could wear, and the plane was going by, and it was close enough where I could see the people in the plane. And all I could worry about is, because I only had my skivvies on, please don't anybody recognize and see me. But I mean, I can remember that. It was funny. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on.
Did you go somewhere?
Yes.
You did,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know where I went,
Okay.
but somebody took me. So,
Okay.
but I can remember the episode. But you don't know where they take you. You don't know what they do.
Well, they erase your memory, obviously, or whatever
Well,
the technical term would be.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure it's there somewhere. But little things will trigger memories. It's like if you go back to where you were. Let's say you were born down in, we'll say Connecticut. You drive back through Connecticut. As soon as you get in that energetic field, you'll start to remember things because your body responds to those things that go on. So it's interesting. Oh yeah, I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I'm a registered minister. I specialize in past life regressions. I do psychic readings. I teach dowsing. I teach psychic stuff. I do. I've been on a lot of, not a lot, but some TV shows. And we have people to make the shows. They come down and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going. I've been in a lot of magazines. So I've been in the Times Held Record magazine a few times. So
That's exciting.
I like it because you learn everything that you do. You learn.
Well, you're spreading the word. Is if you're out there publicly, I'm sure you have scoffers.
Yes, a lot, but that's okay. See, you have your opinion, and that's opinion are like noses. Everybody's got one.
That's right. We do, and we do.
And one thing that I did a show for, it never made it to TV, but one of the things that I learned is they have a camera that you would look at the camera, and they have a device on it so that the person who's doing the interview is sitting off to the side. So you don't look off to the side, you look at the camera at all times, which I thought was really amazing because I could see the person's face there.
Oh, okay.
It was like a mirror thing. So I learned a lot about making videos, making audio things. I've met a lot of famous people. I've fixed a lot of computers for famous people, and it's amazing. You go up to Woodstock and how many people who are in the industry that you would, some of them are very, very famous, but you wouldn't know, who they were. And we have a lot of famous people here. And what attracts those famous people to this area?
Well, everybody thinks it's the open space and the peace and the quiet and the calm and the mountains and the fields.
And it's the energy that's here. So it makes a really big difference on what Pine Bush really is. And when I say Pine Bush, it's the area around here. It's changing, and for better or for worse, it doesn't. It depends on what side of the fence you're on. If you want to be in a field where nobody's around you, you have to buy a lot of property. The issue is that when you buy a piece of property and other people around you own the property, you never know what's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of balance things. And it's like going to Florida. There's a lot of big developments out of Florida, and people live in a nice house. They have golf carts that go right to the store and stuff. But is that the same as having the energy that's up here and be able to interact with the people up here? So it's a different thing.
Well, all I can say to you, and then I will let you say your closing thoughts, is if or when or if they're already here, I hope the UFOs, aliens, whatever we want to, species, whatever we want to call them, only bring us good things. And maybe they could make peace or help make peace in this world, because we sure could use that right now, whether it be brought from someplace else or from within ourselves. And my next thing to say is, with all of your skills and professions, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you for your hypnotherapy or your ministry or your past life regression information, how would they contact you?
I can give you my email address.
That would be perfect.
Okay, it's BillJW 1055 at yahoo.com.
Okay, because we will post this on our website, or on our YouTube channel your email address, and we will also put an area for comments and questions, and we will refer them to Bill, and he can answer them. And I'm overjoyed to have been enlightened so much by you. I'm just very excited. I'm all at Twitter with everything I've learned.
Well, hopefully what I did is I opened the door so that you can now expand who you are. And then, but you got to remember, when you learn something, you have to pass it on. Because knowledge can make you powerful, but it's only as powerful as the knowledge is passed on.
Very true. Very true. So I'm going to let you finish up.
Okay. One of the things that I read, it says, for those who believe no explanation is necessary, and for those who, where's my piece of paper? Okay. For those who do not, no explanation will suffice. So if you believe in UFOs, it's okay. If you don't believe in UFOs, it's okay. That's who you are. It's a choice. I really think that there was hope that the aliens would come and rescue us, and that's what a lot of the abductees or experiencers kept saying, is about how all the good things that are going to happen, how they're going to bring in all of the medical facilities, all of the things there, because according to the Bible and ancient history, people lived hundreds of years, at Bible time. They didn't. They lived a long time.
Yeah.
And
True.
Right now, if you read the COVID stuff, our life expectancy now numbers are going back down because there's so many things. Your body wears out. That's the other issue. So if we could have something to rejuvenate and have your body be able to be reused and made better, that would be nice if they came and did that. But could the world support someone who lived 200 years? If everybody, with the same amount of people that are growing, could the world support someone who lived 200 years?
I'll be the first to go to Mars.
Well, and that's the thing. Is there some place we can go? And that was one of the things that happened with the people who experienced other entities, experienced other dimensions. Can we go there?
Will they support us?
Right. And is if we go to another planet, is the other planet going to hinder or hurt our development? And because we know that not everybody on Earth is good, so would you end up being someone's dinner? It's like if the aliens invite you to lunch, are you going to be lunch or are you going to eat lunch with them? That was always a thought in my mind. And I was warned, do not go out and go under any ship.
Okay.
Because of the either the magnetic radiation or thing. And that's another thing that the UFO people talked about, is the cell phones. Back when cell phones first came out, they were thought to be dangerous for your health.
Yes, radiation or
Right.
from the cell
Right.
phone
And
itself.
if you're a dowser, you know that you can measure that kind of radiation and tells you how long you can be in it. But it's all going away now because the money is too good for the companies that do that.
We also didn't want to believe it.
Right. And 5G is still being warned. And if they showed pictures of the technicians working on the towers with full radiation suits and stuff. So is it going to be, is a problem? And supposedly all of this energy stuff is supposed to dumb you down. And then if they keep you in your house, keep you in fear, and not allow you to do anything, and take care of you from cradle to grave, what do you become?
Piece of furniture.
Yes, or a pet.
Right.
And not some people don't treat pets very well.
That's true, and I don't do pet well.
Yeah, but but
That's
I'm old
the theory.
now. Well,
Everything is relative.
yes, but it's so. I would like to see the majority of the world saved,
Oh, me too.
you know.
Me
But
too.
actually, I'd like to see everybody saved. But the people who are service to self and those mean people, put them where they should be okay.
Okay.
So I'll take another planet if you want to go. It's a thing. And then you talk about spiritual development and how your the changes that the religion has gone through. When I do a reading, I can generally tell what religion a person is because I sense that. But a lot of times I'll say, you know, are you so and so? And they say, no, I gave that up. You know, or I'm spiritual now. And what does that mean? It means you don't do too much. But it's an interesting thing. Now, if aliens come, there's not much talk about the religions that the aliens have. They believe in a creator. That I know.
Okay.
So.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe they didn't have a Messiah come, which is the basis for all of our religions. There was a Messiah that picked up and did made the whatever. So maybe they didn't have one yet, or they don't need one because they're if everybody on the planet looks the same or is the same type of person.
Oh, how boring.
Yes. Well, that's another reason why they come here. We're not boring.
Oh, we certainly aren't.
You know, people change every day. Things go on. We used to go down and sit on and out and watch for the UFOs. But we had people from all over the world would come and sit with us on the road, and we talk and we point out the lights and do everything. So we really got to be a very close-knit community. And the group, there's very few people that are active in the group now because, for one thing, been closed down and you can't go out. But with the UFO group, we all became friends. We all had a purpose, and the purpose is move on, get the world going, and it's interesting. And now it's like that little everything is now being on the cancel thing. They canceled the shows. And when I was growing up, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Because I was picked on. I was skinny. My ears stuck out and had one eye that was crossed in. And I was different. So I got picked on. But I survived.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We do survive.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah.
And you're fascinating. I'm just so fascinated by the whole thing. Not only the UFO information, but by all the different hats that you wear, all related.
Yeah. The thing is learning. Learning is something that, like I say, you can't. I pick up a subject and I'll go on the subject until not that I become an expert, but I know something about it. And it's I was giving classes over at the Desmond Center, but they closed that down
Yes,
because
they
of
did.
at the adult education. But I gave a lot of classes over there, and I had fun. And sometimes when I gave a series of classes, it was the same people came all the time, and they were interested. They wanted to know, and we shared information. It's because I don't know all the things, but if you tell me something, I'll try to fit that into what I believe. And sometimes I don't throw away information,
Very good.
but it gets filled up.
Yes.
And thank you for allowing me to speak and to coming here, and come see the books. The books are good.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time and your knowledge. As I said, this video will be put on our YouTube channel. We will put Bill's email address on there should you want to contact him for any of his skills, services, knowledge, ball of wax, whole thing. And we'll also put a comment section should you want to make a comment or ask a question, and Bill will answer. And we thank him so much for his time. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.